So this video lesson is all about simplifying expressions by combining like terms, and it's just a review of the process that we had before. So we'll review a few important things that we need to remember about combining like terms, go through 6 example problems, and then go through 6 practice problems at the ends for you to pause the video for and then work through before we go through the answer. Now, as with every video lesson, I encourage you to pause the video before the example problems also and see what you can do about combining those like terms before we actually go through the answer, and give yourself just a little extra test of what it is that you know. So for the combining like terms and the things we need to remember, first, most importantly, is we have to remember that like terms have identical variable parts. So things like 3x, 7x, negative 12x, etc. All have identical variable parts, and that those are the sorts of terms that we can combine, whereas 7y, 6y, negative y, all of those sorts of things, while they are like terms to each other, are not like terms to the x terms. The y's can be combined, and the x's can be combined, but the x's and y's cannot be combined with each other, which leads to the second important part, which is that we can only combine like terms, not just any sets of terms. So if we have things, a series of non-like terms like 7y minus 8x plus 12 plus 3g. If we have things like that, then we are not going to be able to combine any of those terms, and that just is what it is. And finally, to combine like terms, you just add the coefficients of the like terms, and add the results of each set of like terms together. So the x's would be combined, the y's would be combined, the g's would be combined, the a's, the omegas, whatever you're using as a variable, and then each of those results would be added to each other. So remember, though, that subtraction makes the coefficient negative, and that becomes important as we're going to go through these example problems. So again, I encourage you to pause the video here and try to work through these first before you go through more, before you just hear the answers outright. But let's start working through some of these example problems. Now, the one on the left, all of our terms are x's. They can all be combined. They all have positive coefficients, so we just add those coefficients together. 3 plus 7 is 10x. And we still have the 12x left, and 12 plus 10 is 22x. So 22x is what we get when we combine all of those like terms. For the example on the right, we have to go from left to right in this one. Remember that the order of operations doesn't say that addition happens before subtraction. That addition and subtraction, rather, are done from left to right in whatever order you happen to find them. So 20x minus 18x gives us 2x, and the 2x plus the 12x that we had over here gives us 14x, and that is the answer that we're looking for. Now, the next set of example problems, we'll see a few more negative coefficients. So in the example on the left in purple, negative 12x minus 18x, we need to work with negative 12 minus 18. Now, of course, this is a subtraction problem. We can use our familiar trick to remember how to go through this. KCC. Negative 12 plus negative 18 is negative 30. So therefore, this set of terms combines to negative 30x. That is our answer. Negative 12x minus 18x is negative 30x. And finally, for the example on the right, here we have 5x plus 7x is 12x. That 12x, when we take away 20, is going to lead us with the subtraction problem 12 minus 20. Now, 12 minus 20, we can use KCC again, or remembering that we add the opposite here. We have 12 plus negative 20, which gives us negative 8. And so 12x minus 20x leads us with negative 8x. Now, the last 2 example problems, before I ask you to pause the video and work through some practice problems in the end, is 4 times x minus y minus 6x, and negative 3 times y minus x plus 3y minus 3x. So here we have an example of combining the distributive property with combining like terms. So here we need to distribute first. 4 times x is 4x. Keep the subtraction sign. 4 times y is 4y. And now we're taking 6x. We can only combine the 2 x terms, so 4x minus 6x, with 4 minus 6 being negative 2, gives us negative 2x. So altogether, we have negative 2x, and then we just keep what we had with the y's, which is minus 4y. So negative 2x minus 4y. Now for the one on the right, let's use the distributive property. Negative 3 times y is negative 3y minus negative 3x plus 3y minus 3x. Let's take care of this part first. Becomes a keep change, and then we have the plus 3y minus 3x. That's there. So we have negative 3y plus 3x plus 3y minus 3x. Now with the x's, we have 3x minus 3x, which is, of course, 0. For the y's, we have negative 3y plus 3y, which is also, of course, 0. So our entire answer is just 0, or 0 plus 0, but of course 0 plus 0 is 0. So now, go ahead and pause the video, work on these two example problems first, and then we will come back in just a moment and go through the answers until we get to the next problems. So here we have some combining with some constants and some x terms. The two x's combined together, 4x minus 2x is 2x. And 7 plus 13 is 20. So therefore we have 2x plus 20 as our final combined like terms there. And here we have, this becomes 3x plus 3 minus 2x plus 7x. And so now we can combine our x's by saying 3x minus 2x is just x, and x plus 7x is 8x. Now we still have the 3, so altogether we end up with 8x plus 3. Now let's go on to the next set of practice problems. Go ahead, pause the video, work through these ones that you see here, and then come back when you are ready to move on to the last set of 2 problems and see the answers to these ones. So again, moving from left to right on the problem in red, 6x minus 5x is x. X plus 4x is 5x. And 5x minus 3x gives us 2x. And since the 2x and the 9 can't be combined, we end up with 2x plus 9. Now let's get rid of that little purple streak there. 2x plus 9 as our final answer. Now we need to do some distributing on the purple problem. We have negative 4x minus negative 8 plus 4x plus 8. Let's change this slightly with a keep change here. So it becomes negative 4x plus 8 plus 4x plus 8. Now negative 4x plus 4x is, of course, 0. And we have 8 plus 8, which gives us 16. So overall, our answer is 0 plus 16, or just 16. Now we don't have to include the x's there. We don't need to say 0x plus 16, although we could, because 0 times anything, regardless of what x is 0. And finally, the last set of problems that we can work on. Go ahead, pause the video, work through them, and see what you can do with them. So in the one to the left, we see that there are actually no like terms. We have g's, but we only have one g, one term with b's, one term with y's, and one term with 12s. So since there can be no terms that are combined here, this is actually in simplest form, and that's what we want. And then for the one to the right, we have 14 times x equals 14x. 14 plus 2y is 14 times 2 times y, which is 28y. Then minus 10x plus 2y. So for the x's, we have 14x minus 10x, which gives us 4x. And for the y's, we have 28y plus 2y, which gives us 30y. So overall, our final answer is 4x plus 30y. So again, those 3 things that we need to remember for every combining like terms. First, the like terms have identical variable parts. You can only combine like terms and not just any old terms. And to combine like terms, add their coefficients, then add the results of each set together, remembering that subtraction makes the coefficient negative.